Jai Jinendra, everyone. I welcome you all to the module 2 of the series 5 Sins. Today we have invited Prabha Didi again with us. She has successfully conducted the module 1 of 5 Sins, and today we are heading to the next module, which is the module number 2 of the same topic. So, when we talk about sins, we usually think of the childhood when our parents used to tell हिंसा नहीं करनी चाहिए झूठ नहीं बोलना चाहिए so all these phrases were like a go-to phrases for every child for every parent to deliver. So today we will talk about what is Paap, which we already discussed in the previous module. In the previous module we discussed about the basic, what are the five Paap, what are the five sins, what is Paap, and today we will start the discussion on the first Paap, which is Hinsa, non-violence. And in the second lecture of this module, we will discuss about the remaining part. So yeah, now before I give this mic to Prabha Didi, let me shortly introduce you all with the JEEV portal. JEEV is Jain English Education and Values. In this portal, we have beautifully designed a Jainism curriculum sequence-wise, module-wise, just like your public platforms like Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, and many more. How to access this portal, how to access the courses. I will give you a step-wise guide at the end of the session. So now I invite Prabhadidi to start the lecture with a Mangalacharya. Over to you.
Uh, can I start with the Nakar mantra and all, or
Yes,
that's okay, right?
yes.
Yes. Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Airiyanam, Namo Uvachayanam, Namo Loe Sarvasahunam. जय जिनेन्द्र सभी को। आज हम हिंसा के बारे में बात करेंगे। We did 5 sins introduction last class. We discussed what the 5 sins are and what do sins do to us. They don't let the soul be in its natural state, right? The soul in its natural state is without any misery, without any pain. It's forever happiness is its true nature, which we are not able to accomplish because we have passions, we have delusions, and because of that, we do sin, we indulge in sins. And these sins, what do? They give us inauspicious karmas. In turn, they give us uh, unfavorable circumstances, and unfavorable circumstances again lead us to the sins, right? Somebody doesn't have money, they want to steal. Somebody doesn't have the right, loving atmosphere. They get angry, they get frustrated, they go towards violence, right? So it's like a vicious circle. So how do you break that? So just to recap from last time, there are 5 major sins. Of course, there are a lot of them, but we categorize 5 as major sins. And that is violence, uh, chori, which is falsehood, that's jhoot, theft, which is chori, uh, unchastity, which is kushil, and possessions, parigrah, right? We will not go into details of all of them today, but we will talk about violence. And violence is one of the biggest paap, which sort of encompasses all others. So basically, violence sort of also with it covers, uh, all the falsehood and theft, unchastity, possessions, right? Or even though those are also separately explained, because in today's times we need more detailed explanations of what to do and what not to do. But violence actually does encompass all of them. Now, in Jainism, every thought, deed, action, verbally what you say, everything matters. It's not just the action. right? Whenever we think of violence, what do we think? Somebody actually hit armed forces. Today there's war going on. So we are all very, very familiar with, violence. Every day on TV, you're forced to see violence in today's times. In Bharilji's Ahinsa book, he wrote that in the old times, you know, if people got angry, what's the worst they could do? Take a stone, in the Stone Age, right? They had no weapons, they had nothing. What's the worst they could do? Take a stone, throw at each other, right? The worst that will happen is some little injury. Then, uh, what happened as the weapons started developing? They had sharp arrows, and they had like tir kaman. They could kill, or at least more injure some more people, right? And then further development happened, and we had guns. Now we have missiles, we have nuclear weapons, which can actually destroy the whole world multiple times over. So just think, in the name of peace, how much violence, uh, samagri we have collected. So it kind of seems like an oxymoron to say that, oh, we are having all these weapons so we could have peace on earth. That obviously does not make any sense. So, what is then the answer? So, personally, obviously, I don't think we Jains really indulge into extreme violence like meat eating or killing of animals or anything like that. But we still do, and that's what we are going to cover. Now, so how does the violence arise, right? Through what? Any evil thought, word, or deed. So, violence is, we see this all around us. Individuals are hitting each other, saying bad words to each other, jealousy, all these are part of violence. A lot of things that we don't even think that it is violence. We all know physical violence and mental violence, right? Um, in more sophisticated environments, families, maybe there's not physical violence, but there is mental torture. You say mean things to each other. You mean bad for others, right? And which hurts somebody mentally. So that is also violence. Or you even wish something bad for somebody. That is violence, even though it's in the mind only. You really didn't even say anything bad to them or didn't actually hurt them. So those are all different forms of violence. Uh, Now, how do we, let's say, we really don't go out and kill any human being or kill any animals. We don't, right? But right now there's war going on. We all almost cannot avoid, if we don't, even if people like me who doesn't don't even want to watch the war news, somebody will tell you, or your phone will have a little blurb about what's the current situation of war. Yesterday, I went to this movie, which I usually don't prefer. Even if I watch movies, I don't like fighting movies, right? I never go and don't enjoy. But somebody told me, no, this new, some Dhurandhar 2 movie has come out, so we should go. So somebody took me to that movie. And that movie was all about this terrorism between Pakistan and India and what all happened. And if any of you have seen, it's a big example of violence, right? All they showed was there is so much killing in the name of either religion, country, or revenge. And all those things take over your mind so much that person isn't even humane in a lot of ways, right? He's so attached either to his country or to this revenge feeling in this movie, they showed that something bad happened to his sister, and now he's trying to take revenge. Or countries do that, right? One country did something bad to the other. So now they have to go back and kill all those people. And what do we do? If we are sitting watching the news, either on Instagram or YouTube or turning on TV, in this war, luckily, India is not involved. But still, everybody is watching and either cursing Mr. Trump, or somebody wants to take Iran's side, or bichare ho gaye, or somebody's taking the other side. Oh, maybe Iran, these people have ISI, they are trying to the Pakistan and all this terrorism, maybe this will help. Everybody has their own opinion. But indirectly, what are we doing? We are either supporting violence of one side or supporting violence of the other side. The moment we get the feeling ki, oh, this shouldn't have happened or this should have happened, immediately we put our stamp on that violence. Right? We had nothing to do with the war. We are not even one of those countries involved in the war. Still, we involve ourselves simply by watching the news and involving ourselves. And this is a very serious matter, because in doing so, in just being involved with whatever is going on in politics, we have accumulated a lot of inauspicious karmas of violence, because we did anumodna, right? Let's say you watch this Thurandar movie. They're showing that how India took the revenge of whatever terrorism happened in India, right? Now this person goes to Pakistan and he kills so many people. So what's sitting in the theater, what happens? Whenever the Pakistani is getting killed, what are the Indians thinking? Acha hua. Oh, we showed them, right? Without even thinking, those thoughts come to people's mind. And vice versa. Probably if Pakistanis are watching that movie and some Indian is getting killed, hurt, whatever, they're getting the same feeling. So these are the types of violences that we are not even aware, and we are doing every day. We think that, oh, we are born in Jain families. We teach our children not even to kill an ant. We don't want to hurt anybody. We do Michhami Tukram every year. We are such simple souls. But are we? And there is room for improvement, right? So that's the basic face of violence, how we, what are we seeing in the world? Now, are we ever, if you ever see, let's say, simple example, you have mice in the house, right? You catch the mice. Are you happy? Oh my God, he got caught. Now he's not going to destroy my clothes or whatever it is that he was going to destroy in your house. And now you catch this little mouse and he's now suffering in the cage, right? Until you release it. But what does the householder feel? We caught the mouse. We don't even think that, oh, we are giving so much pain and suffering to this mouse that we caught. But if we are a little more aware, even if we had to, because it is, sometimes you have to do it being in the house, then you would be more aware that as soon as he's caught, you'll try to take it out and right away release it, or at least not use the bad mouse traps that kill them. So, number one, that rejoicing with, looking at terrorist acts, or like even, let's say some Pakistani terrorist got caught and he got murdered or sentenced to death, let's say, by the government or whatever happens, right? Somehow it seems like naturally all people from India will rejoice that he had done bad to our country. So this should have happened to him. And we don't even realize that we are being happy in somebody's death. And indirectly, we are getting that karma. Or when when the weapons are manufactured, that is another big violence. So if you, let's say right now there is war, right? The weapons industry the stock market might go up. And there are people who will actually invest in those because it's going to go up. For that little greed of money, what are they doing? Indulging in lot of violence. If you invested in the factory that makes guns or weapons or swords, what's going to happen? Lot of killing, and your money is invested. Now, other forms of, let's say those are major, big actually killings and violences. There are minor forms. We use cosmetics or leather items or silk items without even thinking how much silk is made with killing of so many insects or so many bugs or whatever those are, silkworms, right? And we, without a thought, those who understand and realize there is so much violence, sometimes, of course, us Jains quit wearing silk and all that. Then the Deepavali or Independence Day fireworks, right? We all want to go out and see the fireworks and feel like we got entertained by it, or a sense of happiness to see the big fireworks. Maybe we got this temporary, entertainment. Let's say I wouldn't even call it happiness, seeing the fireworks. But in return, what are we getting? Lot of inauspicious karmas to give the anumodana for the fireworks that is killing birds, that is scaring the animals around it, and lot of little insects are definitely killed. There are buildings where they have these fumigate the mosquitoes. There some fumes which destroy all the mosquitoes in that little complex or something like that. And what do most people think? Oh yeah, this should have been done. Otherwise, it would be difficult to live with all these mosquitoes. Then we also, when we walk carelessly, right? We don't think ki, niche kya aa raha hai, what's happening. We just walk without even a thought that there could be little insects. So I understand, being a householder, avoiding everything is not possible. That's why Muniraj don't use shoes, because they want to be able to feel whatever is coming under their feet, so they don't even have that kind of violence. But householders can also be very careful when they walk, because it's not like only Muniraj will get sin and we don't. We do. So we can be equally careful. And why do all these things happen? Because of pramad. Pramad of what? Pramad means not being with your soul. And because of that, we are not aware in that how much violence we are doing. And it's not that we need to avoid violence to save somebody's life, or because we really cannot save somebody's life who it's destined, they will die. But it's our bhav that gives us the fruits of the bad karmas. And that's why we need to learn. Or if we cut trees, pluck flowers, these are all different forms of violence that we do. Now, violence can be inflicted to self, and others, of course, you hurt others, that of course is there. Now, so killing, hurting, hitting, and causing emotional pain is obviously all evil thoughts, right? And they fall under category of major violence. And we can classify this violence in two types: physical violence and psychic violence, which is bhav hinsa. And same divisions will appear in all the five senses. Physical aspect denotes the act of the sin. So whatever action you do is the physical aspect of it through body or speech. Whereas the psychic aspect denotes the internal intent or disposition towards committing the sin. So let's understand both of them now. So physically, a lot of times we may we may be scared. Let's say somebody, mm, uh, some thief is you're afraid that he might, and you are not going to go physically fight with him because you can't. But in your mind, what you are thinking that I wish I could, push this guy, hurt this guy, whatever that case may be. So physical violence or dravya hinsa is the actual act of cutting, killing, hurting, harassing, teasing, irritating, harming, injuring, causing emotional distress to others. So these are all forms of external or physical violence. So if you are meat eater, if you are a butcher who actually has to, kill animals or so that is physical. Let's say we don't do. But what about games? We allow our kids to play games that involves violence, right? All these little kids nowadays are playing games, choo choo, tum 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 tum. They're trying to do this gun violence, and we think our kids are understanding coordination and let them play video games without even a thought that these kids are getting all these inauspicious karmas of killing. And they're getting so immune to killing that then when they go out and see these movies where there is so much killing, it doesn't even bother them. There's no compassion that comes out of their hearts. At least us, those who are grown in compassionate families, Jain families, we are so not at all immune where we don't even like to see any kind of violence, leave alone do. But now the newer generation is not like that because we have let them go out and play these video games, which they learn to do all that violence. Now, there's a little story that if somebody has this kind of karma where he's going to do violence regardless, because remember I said violence can be mind, words, and action. So there is a story that comes that there was this guy who used to kill, let's say, 100. In the story, it says pada, which is like, I think, a male cow or something like that every day. So the town was very, very worried that this guy is killing every day so many, how to avoid. And Bhagwan said that, no, you cannot make him not kill, because until he understands and accepts the reality or the Vastu Swarup, his intention is not going to change. So these people from the town think that, oh, let us throw him in a very deep well. Then he is not going to be able to come out and not be able to kill these bull or whatever it was. So they throw him in this well, which is not filled with water, and there's a lot of mud at the bottom. So it's sort of dry, very, very deep well. Next day, what do they see? This guy is actually making a bull or cow or whatever shape that he was used to killing every day with the mud, because he's sitting in the mud in the well, and making them and killing, making, killing, making, killing. So what happened? Even though he was thrown in the well to avoid physical violence, but that person did not stop the mental violence. He would every day imagine in those little mud ka uh, pada and kill it. So that's where the mental violence comes into play. Now, psychic violence or bhav hinsa, what is that? Any emergence of attachment, aversions, or delusions in the soul is internal or psychic or bhav hinsa, psychic violence, because it destroys the internal purity of the soul. It does not let the pure soul appear. It means the occurrence of mind or intense passions, thoughts of harming or hurting others, feelings of anger, envy, etc., are psychic violence. So, what happens is that we always feel like, it's okay, I didn't hurt, I didn't say anything bad to somebody. But what happens? Because we have grudges against people. So we may not say things to them or go and physically hurt them. But when you have a grudge against somebody, what happens? We don't wish them well. And unka to jo hona hai hoga. They will bear fruits of their own doings. But if we wish evil for somebody or we don't mean well for somebody, that we are binding our own inauspicious karmas for which we have to bear the fruits. So, and the occurrence of passions can be mild or intense. Even the thoughts of harming or hurting others, even if we think that, oh, this person did so bad. And a lot of people, they won't do anything, but they will say, uh, that person should get the fruit of his doings, which means internally they mean that he should get some bad circumstance. So, and that is these thoughts are the main culprit behind causing any physical harm. So when these thoughts go beyond a certain level, like say, for example, there is some fight going on between two people, right? Initially, they're politely asking each other, amicably talking. Then one person doesn't, listen. The other person raises the voice. Then the first person again raises the voice and then keeps getting heated and heated and heated until it gets to sometimes physical fights. So obviously, it all starts in the mind. And as far as violence is concerned, the Jain way of thinking is even the slightest of rise of attachment is violence. So that is actually the true definition of violence. रागादि की उत्पत्ति ही हिंसा है. And if we take that to heart and observe ourselves, that how much attachment are we indulging in? And how it eventually leads us to different types of violence. And the mere thought of harming or bothering anybody leads to bondage of inauspicious karmas. But in the absence of psychic violence, if another being is accidentally harmed, it does not lead to severe bondage. And we see those examples. Doctors treating a patient, they're cutting up the body, but obviously their intention is to save, not to kill. In that process, even if the patient gets killed, he will not get severe bondage. So we must be very mindful of our thoughts and avoid all types of internal violence. So the occurrence of impure sentiments is violence. And I already discussed that sins like falsehood, theft, unchastity, and possessions are various forms of violence itself. Scriptures have made the divisions primarily to understand different forms of violence better. When no impure sentiments arise in the soul and all the attachments are eliminated, it is known as non-violence. And non-violence is the greatest religion. And we have probably seen that proverb, Ahinsa Parmo Dharma, or that true Ahinsa. Who has that? Aryant Kevli, whose Vani we follow. How did we get all this information that we cannot actually know or see pratyaksh with our own eyes and ears? We get all this information from Kevli Bhagwan. Now let us look at 4 divisions of violence. What are the 4 different types of violence? Those are intentional violence, which is called Sankalpi Hinsa, which is violence committed truly intending to harm or kill a living being. For example, murder, suicide, hunting, abortion, pest control, mercy killing of pets, and all forms of intentional injury. Um, Even if medical science uses it for learning for the medical students, it's still intentional hurting or violence, or testing on animals for cosmetics or any other reasons. Now there are organizations that is trying to avoid actually the physical killing of animals for even medical reason. They're trying to use AI, they're trying to use computer softwares to mimic what they need to do so they can teach the medical students without actually harming or killing animals. So we should definitely avoid any types of this intentional violence. The second one is called domiciliary violence or Arambhi Hinsa. Arambhi Hinsa, which means the violence that you would need for your day-to-day living. Lot of it is unavoidable because our soul is not at that state where it can live without eating food, it can live without clothes. We are not there yet. So for our basic food, clothing, and shelter, we have to commit violence, which is by a householder for its daily chores. For example, violence we cause while preparing food. We use fire, Agnikay ki hinsa. We use water. We chop vegetables. We use, water, electricity, all these things for cleaning purposes. So all that is hinsa, but it is not avoidable if we are not spiritually at that level where we can do without food and all that. And that is why Muniraj, they have to follow non-violence to its completeness, so they don't do any Arambhi Hinsa, they don't cook for themselves. That is why they have to go and take a little share from the Shravaks. But even within Arambhi Hinsa, which we feel we cannot avoid, but let's say we are chopping a vegetable. So one is the thought that, oh, it's my weakness, I cannot live without food, so I have to chop the vegetables. And we actually feel this compassionate, sorry feeling that you have to commit that hinsa. The other one is where you are proud to be able to chop a vegetable a certain way. Oh, look, see how fine I can chop. Or so that again, even though it was Arambi, it becomes into intentional hinsa. So be aware when you think, oh, this is needed and I'm doing it, but how your bhav goes also matters. That Arambi Hinsa could very well become the intentional Hinsa, right? So Sankalpi Hinsa, and you don't want to get that Sankalpi Hinsa ka paap. So one has to be very, very careful. Then the third category is industrial violence, Udyogi Hinsa, which is violence committed when doing any appropriate business. For example, farming, mining, construction of buildings, etc. So now maybe there are Jains doing these things. In the old times, Jains used to avoid those kind of businesses. Even today, maybe there's minimum Jains in agriculture, farming type of businesses, mining, construction. Now I see a lot of people, even Jains are in the business. But those are not ideal businesses if you want to avoid violence. One may say, then somebody will have to do those. Yes, that is true. But again, and that is why it's called Udyogi Hinsa. But uh, one should, we have to do what is right for us. So if we can find other businesses to do other, uh, other jobs or whatever, then we should try to avoid businesses or even investing in those type of companies where there is that much violence. Again, I will remind you, anything we do will only come back to me. Nobody else is going to bear fruits of what we do, no matter how much we justify that I have to cook for my child and I have to earn for my family. You can have all the excuses when it comes to bearing the fruits of the inauspicious karmas. It's only you that is going to bear. So, all those excuses, think twice before you think that you have to do it for the family. Then the last one is defensive violence, Virodhi Hinsa. Even though it's not desired, but if you run into a situation where somebody's coming to kill you and you have to defend, that's the type of Hinsa, right? Now, there are also violence committed in defending true religion, religious institutions, country, family, or self. Self, I gave you the example. If somebody's coming to hit you and you try to avoid getting hit by protecting yourself, and in the process, if that person gets hurt, that is Virodhi Hinsa. Family, same thing. Some friend is coming and hitting your child, and you have to protect your child. In doing so, the other child gets hurt. That is again Virodhi Hinsa. For country, we are seeing, all these wars. They think they're protecting their countries. It's for their country's benefit. Religious institutions, same thing. Lot of wars are even because of the religious, on the name of religion. So yes, people may justify that one has to defend their religion. I mean, even Jains have raised voices whenever government tried to take the Samet Shikhar or any of our Tirth or something wrong happened. Yes. But in general, Jains don't try to go and hit people, beat people. They will try to find peaceful ways of showing that we don't accept these kind of things. So, if fighting is a murder for self-defense, execution of an anti-nationalist by police, these are all acts of defensive violence or Virodhi Hinsa. Now, let's talk about how do we avoid all of these violence? What best can we do? Again, like I said, we are not doing a favor to anybody by avoiding violence. We are doing a favor to ourselves by avoiding violence. The followers of Jainism must give up all types of intentional violence, as the fruits of such acts are demerits like birth in hell and subhuman states. तो निगोद नरक का जन्म मिलता है अगर हम इंटेंशनल हिंसा करते हैं और उसकी अनुमोदना भी करें तो, क्योंकि अनुमोदना हम कई बार उसको हिंसा सोचते ही नहीं है. And violence is not only caused by actually committing the crime, but also by instructing others to do it or even by applauding it. And I've already given you examples. When you applaud watching a movie, when you applaud watching the real scenes of wars, all these thoughts of committing a crime or mentally planning it are equally punishable, and one must avoid them. First, one must try to understand the nature of things by studying the scriptures. So we do, like when you go to sadhus, they will tell you to avoid krit karit anumodna. But how would it actually come into practice? And the best way to make it come into practice is, first, you should try to understand the nature of things by studying the scriptures, vastu swarup samajhna, shastra पढ़ के, taking help of teachers, doing courses, whatever it takes to understand the nature of things. As we realize that I am a soul and the others towards whom we will have ill feelings are also souls, the desire to harm, hurt, or inflict pain goes away. So that is the natural way and the best way to avoid violence. Again, I repeat, understand the nature of things, understand the Vastu Swarup by studying the scriptures. When you know that I'm the soul, I'm not this body, everything that we see, we have feeling against or for, all the attachments towards our kids or husband or properties we have, the money we have, is all related to what? This body, the Pudgal, which we are not. We are absolutely not at all this Pudgal, which we have the attachment towards, and in turn, we have attachment towards its money, its relatives, its then relatives, your expectation from relatives, and if they don't fulfill those expectation, you get the dvesh bhav, right? So these are all causes because we don't understand the vastu swarup. We don't understand the nature of things. We don't even understand that I am the soul. I'm not this body. So why to even bother myself? Take a divorce from your body and all problems are solved. So when you have that level of understanding, naturally you will become less hurtful towards others as well your own. When we harm others, first we harm ourselves. When we are angry, guess who is hurt the most? The person who is becoming angry. The other person will be hurt only if his asata karmas are in Uday. Otherwise, you cannot possibly harm that person. But you will definitely harm yourself. Even the plants, animals, insects are souls. Who told us all this? Kevali Bhagwan. Right? They can sense pain. So one should be compassionate and minimize activities that hurt them. So I've already given you examples: burning fireworks, going to see fireworks, going to the zoo where these people are put in cages, uh, anything, or like they call it blood diamonds. A lot of people are aware that if there is child labor used to mine the diamonds, or they are not paid well at the cost of somebody's painful living. If you're buying diamonds, then you are uh, basically living a violent life. So one must avoid using leather and silk and use only cruelty-free products. It also means that it is crucial to eat a pure vegetarian or vegan, better yet, ethical sattvic diet, and follow the rules of conduct mentioned in the scriptures. And when I say scriptures, Purusharth Siddhi Upay, Shravak Achar, these granths will basically teach you how to live a non-violent life. One must try to avoid businesses that cause a lot of violence. Investing money in companies producing cigarettes, meat, pesticides, weapons, alcohol, etc. encourages violence and hence must be avoided. No matter how much the stock market is going up of gutka, whatever company it is, don't invest. If you have the punya, you will get that money from better means too. You don't need to invest in wrong companies that encourage violence. One should not wish ill for anyone. If someone hurts you, think of it as the fruit of your past karmas and forgive easily. Once you have that mental setup that why something bad happened to me, it's my own cause. I have basically accumulated such karmas that I'm getting this kind of fruit today. And as soon as you have that kind of thinking, maybe you'll be a little angry in the beginning, but you will easily be able to forgive that person. Never let thoughts of revenge and envy pollute your mind. Because, like I told you about this movie, you see what revenge causes. So much killing, so much, not just killing, so much bad karmas for so many people. It's like a chain reaction. We have seen in Shastras stories of Parshanath. From how many lives Kamat and Parshanath's Ji had animosity. And finally, when Parshanath gave up, that no, I am the soul and I don't need to worry about what this person is doing to me. And that's the only way to end that chain reaction of revenge. One should not exploit his workers or overburden them with work. So let's say we hire for our company somebody. And what do most companies think nowadays, especially in India, if they're working for UK company, they're working for US companies, they're made to work day and night. First, they do their work in the day, and then they have to sit in meetings at night because now it is US time. So these people are overworked. And that's not a good thing. So if you happen to be in charge of that, something like that, be aware. Don't overburden people. Or even if you have a house help, let's say you have some Kamwali bai coming, just make sure you only get reasonable work done from them. Don't overload them. Let them do the whole housework, even if she's coming after working at three other houses, because unfortunately she needs the money. So we need to be a little compassionate towards them. Or if you think maybe she hasn't eaten all day because she's been working for so many houses, give them some food. Be compassionate towards them. Or if you avoid joy rides, elephant rides, going to the zoo, those kind of things also we should avoid and teach our kids why we don't do these things. Right? Nowadays, circus is not so common. And there was a time when circuses were common, when animals used to be tortured to do those acts in the circus. So that those are not right places for Jains to go to. One needs to reflect on his activities daily and think about those that were unnecessary. See, there are certain things we cannot avoid in our day-to-day living. But there are a lot that we could have avoided if we would just focus on our souls, focus a little, give it a little more reflection every night, all day. What activities did I do? Could I have avoided this? And then try to avoid them in the future. So these are all small steps to avoid violence in one's daily life. The more we try to understand the nature of our soul and get engrossed in it, these sins get eliminated gradually on their own. And I know some of you are taking the Parmagam Honors course, you're taking the JEEV courses. You guys can go on JEEV website, see all the different classes. Those are all sources for learning the Vastu Swarup, learning the nature of things, which naturally should give you tendencies of non-violence. And that is utmost for your own soul. You're not doing anybody a favor by saving their life. You're doing yourself a favor by not taking anybody's life or inflicting any pain to anybody. So, and then there are, like I said, in children, whether they're playing games, they are making videos these days that involve a lot of violence. It's not just one-time violence. They are getting their mindset ready for a lot of future violence. Uh, and that is something we need to understand. This also extends to relationships. Let's say, doesn't matter whether it's husband-wife relationship, whether it's mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, whether it is brother-sister. Always think it is better to give in than to be stuck on your own point in living. Because guess what? You are doing mental torture to the person you're dealing with as well as to yourself. So it's better to give in rather than be egoistic and stick with your point. All that is part of violence, even though we don't think so. We think it's okay. I have to be, what do people, self-respect. I should have at least that much self-respect that I cannot just, give up because they told me to do something. And those are all forms of violence that we don't understand, that we should follow and be very careful. And when we understand the Vastu Swarup, guess what? Our life becomes so smooth. We let things happen. Our life flows like a river where it's not interrupted by stones. The more we try to interrupt our life, the more inauspicious karmas we bind, which eventually only we have to bear the fruits, keep taking new and new life forms, whether it is hell, whether it is heaven, whether it is animal, subhumans, humans. And our Chedala explains there is no happiness in any of those gatis. So obviously, that's not something to wish for. But unfortunately, all of these sins will give us some of these gatis. So one needs to be very, very careful about their thoughts. Of course, a speech and body actions, definitely one must be careful. But it all starts in the thought. And the thought process needs to be changed. The attitudes need to be changed by understanding the scriptures that our Kevalis, from the Kevalis knowledge that has been coming down from Gandhars to Acharyas, to Muniraj, to some of the Pandits, to some of the teachers that teach us, even it may not be their original knowledge, but it is coming from the main source of Arihants. So it is very important that we follow all that Jain knowledge, that we are so fortunate to be able to get to that knowledge, be able to have the ability, have the right circumstances, the mental power to understand that. These circumstances like internet is available to you, physical teachers are available to you. So that should become number one priority of your life, because this is going to go on not just for this life, but for all the lives to come. Your life will become better. So it's definitely worth giving it the most priority to understand the scriptures, understand the Vastu Swarup, understand in details descriptions of violence. And a lot of our scriptures have it. A lot of our pratikramans have this alochana part, pratikraman part. They will have details of what the different violences, different falsehoods are, and what I should not do. And if I did, how I should do prayashchit or pratikraman for it. So these are all, I'm giving you just pointers, and I've given you some scripture names that one can go and read. If you don't understand, first try to read yourself. If you don't understand, watch videos from JEEV itself. We have a lot of very good videos that are put here on different topics, which will explain to you. If you still cannot understand, go to a physical teacher, but try to understand the Vastu Swarup so you reduce, minimize the violence, and you minimize your sins and go to good gati and eventually the Pancham Gati Moksha. Now to recap, I will quickly show you the slideshow just so we go through all of it again. Just 1 second here. Let me open it. I just want to make sure I have it open. Okay. We'll do this just 5 more minutes. 1 second. I'm trying to share here. Okay. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll quickly go through these slides just so we recap what I've said so far. Sins bear fruits not wished for, which one has to suffer in his current and upcoming life too. So it's not just this life, even in the next life, you will have to bear the fruits of it, right? It gives one sorrow, pain, and life full of hardships. Now, what are sins? Ill thoughts, hurtful words, and bad actions that are responsible for driving a soul towards the wrong path, that are cause of his downfall, intense misery, and suffering are known as sins. So they are not only this life, future life, and in this life also they will get a lot of shame and misery and suffering. What is the main root cause of these sins? Why would one commit sins? They have delusions, which is mithyatva, passions, kashaya. And those are all impure dispositions, and they are sins too. All kinds of inauspicious thoughts, words, and deeds done under the influence of intense passions and delusion are known as sins. How do you avoid and how do you get rid of delusion? Through understanding the Vastu Swarup. And we already talked about the five sins: violence, falsehood, theft, unchastity, accumulation of possessions. Now, today, what we covered was violence, acts like killing, hurting, hitting, emotionally causing pain, and the evil dispositions causing these all fall under the category of violence. And this is just a little pictorial, so it will sit with you a little better, as we recap today's lecture. Now, two types of violence: external physical violence, dravya hinsa, that is, acts of hurting, harassing, teasing, irritating, harming, injuring, causing emotional distress to others, killing, etc., are forms of external or physical violence. Internal violence, any emergence of attachments, that is, raga, aversion, dvesha, delusions, mithyatva, etc., occurrence of mild or intense passions, disposition of harming or hurting others, feelings of anger, envy, etc. All come under this bhav internal violence. We talked about the four divisions of violence: internal violence, sankalpi hinsa, intentional, excuse me. We already talked about physical murder, being, cutting vegetables a certain way, being happy, that shows that that was your intent of hurting, killing that thing. Domiciliary, Arambhi Hinsa, industrial, Udyogi, and defensive, Virodhi. Intentional Hinsa, violence committed cruelly with an intention to harm or kill. For example, murder, suicide, hunting, abortion, pest control, mercy killing of pets. In case somebody doesn't understand mercy killing of pets, what that is if somebody has, let's say, a dog as a pet, and he gets sick, fatally sick, let's say, a lot of people will give them lethal injections and kill them. And they think it is mercy. They're being compassionate towards them. And no, it does not justify. You cannot kill anybody for that reason either. Domiciliary violence, Arambhi Hinsa, a householder has to commit this non-avoidable violence for his daily chores. For example, violence caused in preparing food due to cooking or on fire, cutting vegetables, usage of water and electricity, etc. And you can see from the pictures, we all do these. Industrial violence, Udyogi Hinsa, harmful act committed when doing any appropriate business. For example, farming, mining, construction, etc. Then defensive violence, even though not desired, the violence committed for defense of religion, religious institutions, country, family, or self is defensive violence. Killing a murderer for your own defense, killing of anti-nationals by police, etc. And how do you avoid violence? Giving up all types of at least intentional violence. Do not wish ill for anyone. Do not invest money in companies producing cigarettes, meat, pesticides, etc. Eat a pure, ethical, sattvic diet and follow the rules of conduct as mentioned in our scriptures. Do not harm plants, animals, insects, etc. How to avoid violence? Again, do not exploit your workers or overburden them with work. Avoid businesses that cause a lot of violence. Do not make animals carry heavy loads. Avoid joyrides on animals that cause them pain. We do, a lot of people do that. They go on vacations, they're putting their child on a pony and giving them pony rides. People go to Jaipur, they do elephant rides. Think about all of those things. The more we try to understand the nature of our soul and get engrossed in it, all these sins get eliminated on their own. So think about it. You don't even have to worry about it. It will automatically happen if you understand the scriptures. You understand the Vastu Swarup. Uh, that's it for today. Jai Jinendra. Hope I've given you some insights to go read some more scriptures and follow the violence to and non-violence to the best of your abilities.
Thank you so much, Prabhadidi, for this beautiful session. Today we have covered the part of the first sin, which is Ahinsa. We are very close to celebrate the Mahavir Jayanti, which is in the coming week, and I think we will discuss in that lecture as well with some other, maybe some other guest people. So today we have already learned about the first sin with very beautiful examples and very beautiful thought and a very beautiful conclusion by Prabhadidi about what to do, how to get rid of these sins, how to get rid of ahimsa, what actual ahimsa is, and about all the four parts, four types of ahimsa we have talked about. And dravhinsa, bhavhinsa, we have already covered it before. And so now the session is open if anybody has any questions. Otherwise, we will just quickly wind up the session. Any questions related to ahimsa?
Everybody can turn their videos on.
Yeah, if you want to, yeah.
मैम बस मुझे इतना पूछना था, वैसे आपने कवर करा है अपने उसमें कि जब कोई नीट की तैयारी कर रहा होता है और उसमें हिंसा कराई जाती है, बेसिकली मेंढक या चूहे के ऊपर मेडिकल उसमें ट्रीटमेंट में बनाया जाता है। तो इस वजह से मतलब हमारे घर में कोई डॉक्टर नहीं बनना चाहता क्योंकि हिंसा होती है, लेकिन इस तरीके से तो हम मतलब नहीं बन रहे या नहीं कर रहे। तो ये और आगे जाके डॉक्टर भी तो बहुत सारे लोगों की जान बचाते हैं, तो मतलब ये दोनों ही कंट्रोवर्शियल नहीं हो गए कि एक तरफ तो हम हिंसा करके ही डॉक्टर बन रहे हैं और फिर बाद में हम डॉक्टर बन के ही जान बचा रहे हैं।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. So, of course, it comes under which Hinsa? Tell me from the lecture, what did you understand?
आपने संकल्प हिंसा बताया इसके बारे में।
No?
Yogi,
Udyogi Hinsa.
yogi inside.
Because that is necessary for your profession. Okay? I won't say it's allowed, but it is less intense than the other Hinsa. Okay? Now, but even within that, yes, you're right. A lot of Jains choose not to become doctors because of that. Because we are in general very compassionate people and we don't like to kill. So a lot of people don't even have the heart to kill. So they rather not do that kind of profession, right? So, which is fine. And world does not revolve around you. If you don't become doctor, somebody else will. It's not going to be like nobody will be doctor in the world. That's never going to happen. Now, as far as if you are a doctor and that is one of the requirements to learn, yes. But there are today organizations like PETA, which we donate to heavily. And as a proof, I would say we have gotten letters back from them which say that because of your donations, now the doctors don't have to, we don't have to kill animals to teach the medical profession, medical students. So if you get an opportunity, try to donate to those kind of organizations. So a huge impact will happen. So
Right.
if all the medical professions don't have to kill, that would be so nice. That we will still get the benefit of lives being saved, yet without having to kill for learning.
A very good question and a very nice answer by Prabha Didi. Any further queries?
और मैम
मैम
आपने ना एक और बोला था, मेरा ना उस समय नेटवर्क चला गया था कि जू जाने के लिए भी आपने बताया था कि ये भी एक हिंसा में आता है, लेकिन रीज़न जानना है, वो मेरा नेटवर्क चला गया था उस समय तो मैं सुन नहीं पाई।
तो जू में क्या करते हैं?
वहाँ पे मेरे ख्याल से जो सिक होते हैं एनिमल्स उनको ट्रीट किया जाता है।
No. That is different. That is what do they call it? Uh, Whatever. I mean, that's a different thing altogether. वो तो जो open में safari. In safari, sometimes they have these sick animals which they bring. You can see, and they're a little bit tamed because they're sick. That's a different thing. In zoo, they're healthy animals who are put into cages just for your entertainment. So you can go and see them. So they will bring tigers from whatever jungle and put them in cages. Who would like to be in that kind of environment? They're
It's a
not in their
got it.
natural environment, so that is Hinsa towards them.
ओके, लेकिन मेरे को जहाँ तक पता था कि ज़ू में वो ही एनिमल्स लाए जाते हैं जिनको ट्रीट किया जाता है, फिर बाद में जंगल छोड़ दिया जाता है।
No,
No,
that is not true.
it's
That's
only for the entertainment purpose which they keep
only
it.
for entertainment purpose. And if we go to see, then we are part of that Hinsa.
ओके, थैंक यू मैम।
And if they get sick, of course, they're treated and they're fed. People justify, oh, at least they're getting food every day in the jungle. Maybe they wouldn't have gotten food. Still, like I give an example, I'm in India and there was some mouse and it got trapped. You should see how much that mouse jumps up and down just to get out of that cage. Everybody wants freedom. Our own soul does too. So by doing these violence, all these, we are trapping our own soul in all these four gatis. We are not letting it free. The
Okay.
same way the zoo animals want freedom more than anything else. They don't want that good food they're being fed or the medicines that they're getting. They want freedom.
थैंक यू मैम।
Okay. So,
Ma'am, this is Jigisha here. I had one more question, please.
yeah.
So, अभी जो आपने you spoke about Hinsa. What happens when very casually somebody is going on a trip and you're like, you tell them, enjoy your trip, have a nice one, have fun. And these comments that you make, are you being part of the Hinsa that they will be doing on any trips?
Definitely, yes. You are doing
So, right. So now how do you avoid something like this being in this world?
So there are two ways. One is you stop saying those things. And if you cannot, because you're so used to this vyavhar or whatever it's called, at least don't mean it. And slowly, you will probably stop saying it too.
By saying it and not meaning it, does that go into Mayachari or it is still like, okay, I'm saying it.
Yes,
So,
it goes into Mayachari, but it's still better than Anumodana of the Hinsa that they will do.
okay, thank you.
Ma'am, a short question related to what Shweta ji asked. In today's world, recently, I heard about passive killing. One patient got the order from court. वो वर्ड मुझे याद नहीं, यूएनएचसीआर कुछ कहते हैं ना पैसिव किलिंग का.
And they give order to somebody else to kill. Is that what you're saying?
हाँ, merciful killing, like the patient is on bed and
Yeah.
that. So how it should be taken in terms of
No,
Ahinsa?
in Jainism, that is
हाँ.
not something you should do. No. I mean, a lot of cancer patients ask for that, or patients that are suffering a lot due to whatever illness they have, and they know it is fatal. Obviously, they feel like, let me just end my life. Why should I live and have to go through all this suffering? But if the patient asks, they are wrong to ask. And if others think that by ending that person's life, you are going to be compassionate towards them, no, you are not. Because that person has to bear the fruits of its own karmas in this life or next life. Regardless, he will have to. So why do you want to stop the natural flow and bind karmas for yourself? Whoever does that bhav that, okay, let's kill them.
I'm right, but if the patient is unconscious, on bedridden for many years, so what
Yeah.
should be the decision?
The nature takes its decisions. If whatever their lifespan is, only that much they will live, not many more, not any less.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So I think we are over time to this session. Definitely, we will take further questions if any. Otherwise, we can have this in the next lecture in this week itself, if any questions we have. So a beautiful lecture and a conclusion that if we need to get answer to these questions, these situations, the best part is to know the Vishwa Vyavastha, to know, to read the scriptures, and to know the Swatantra Vyavastha, which is fully automated and nothing is controlled by any of us or any Sarvagya Kevli. So that's all for today. Now I'll shortly brief you all with the access points of JEEV. So you can go to the JEEV portal under the JEEV website. You can go to the resources. You can navigate the topic you want to explore. Let's say five sins is a current topic highlighted here. When you click on the topic, you will receive a link to access the course. It's very similar to the other portals like Coursera, LinkedIn Learning. And once you click on access course, you will gain all the resources, all the articles, quizzes, lecture snippets, and everything. And if you have any doubt, you can anytime reach out to us, jeev.net.in. Email address is already mentioned. And yes, so this is a beautiful portal designed for all of us to take the benefit of Jainism. And the people who have a barrier in learning Jainism in a Hindi or Sanskrit Prakrit language, this is a beautiful platform. Now, over
And
to you.
also, the good thing is you can learn topic at a time, at your own
Yes.
pace, your own time. So, yes, it needs a little self-motivation because in classes you're forced to come versus this is, you have to be motivated yourself to take one topic at a time. But a lot of people don't have class, if they don't have time, this is a great way to learn certain topics.
Okay, so thank you everyone for joining. Over to you, Prabhaditi, for Jinwani Stuti.
Sure. सहजानंदी शुद्ध स्वरूपी अविनाशी हूँ आत्मस्वरूप। सहजानंदी शुद्ध स्वरूपी अविनाशी हूँ आत्मस्वरूप। सहजानंदी शुद्ध स्वरूपी अविनाशी हूँ आत्मस्वरूप। निज निधि निज में बताई यह अनंत उपकार है। इसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना शत बार है। वंदना शत बार है। जय जिनेन्द्र।
Thank you everyone. Jai Jinendra.